Jennifer Lopez is not only from the block, but she has been around it quite a bit too. Here are some celebrity men who have regretted dating the star. First up is Ben Affleck. You had to know, right? I mean, Ben Affleck has publicly addressed regrets about his highly publicized relationship with Jennifer Lopez in the early 2000s and now even as well. Now, the two began dating in 2002, shortly after Ben split from actress Gwyneth Paltrow, and they became engaged a year later. However, their relationship was filled with intense media scrutiny, with many criticizing, their pairing as a publicity stunt. Now, the couple eventually called off their wedding in 2003, just days before the ceremony, and officially ended their relationship in 2004. Ben and J.Lo would go on to reconnect and, marry each other on July 16, 2022 in Las Vegas, Nevada, but that was short-lived as they recently finalized their divorce in January of this new year. Now, the docs state that Lopez will keep her green $5 million engagement ring that Ben gifted her when they rekindled their romance. Lucky girl. Now, in hindsight, Ben has spoken about how the intense media attention and pressure took a toll on him and their relationship, and he's expressed a lot of regret over how things, have played out then and now. He's made it very clear, allegedly though, that, he regrets actually his marriage to Jenny, and also said that he was quote unquote blinded by just how, lustful it was when they reconnected, and that, it quickly fizzled out once the affection was replaced by bickering and tension. Now, this was, a spinning the block gone wrong incident. Sometimes it might be best to just leave your ex where they belong. Ohani Noah. Now, so despite their relationship being literally like decades ago, this man has not gotten over it. Like, if holding on to the past was a person, it would be him. In 1997, Jennifer's movie career was just getting started with her breakout role in Selena. This was the year she also married her first husband, Ohani Noah. When they split though, 11 months later, Noah made plans to release a tell-all book about their relationship. But J.Lo filed a lawsuit and won, preventing it from, happening. He later revealed he was driven by jealousy in their romance when she stepped out publicly, at events with Sean Diddy Combs, who she later went on to date. Ohani told Daily Mail at the time, I rang Jen and asked why she was going out with him on dates, and she said, "It's just business. This is what I'm being told I have to do. I was jealous and I would scream, but you are married." While Ohani was, barred from releasing his book, he did share more details of their relationship in a 2011 YouTube video when he said, "The wedding was very crazy. I love the fact that I got married because I was totally in love. I was crazy in love. We were totally in love." And when news broke, of Jennifer and Ben's nuptials, Ohani sent well wishes in an interview he did in 2022, telling the Daily Mail, "I wish her and Ben the best," before adding though, "but I'm not convinced it will last." I mean, he wasn't wrong, but damn. Sean Puff Daddy P. Diddy Love Combs. Honestly, I don't know. This man has had so many names. Anyway, the two dated from 1999 to 2001, and while that seems like such a short time, it was fueled with drama and controversy. The relationship was marked by glamorous appearances, emotional turbulence, and legal troubles. It's crazy because to this day, his legal troubles are like still haunting her. J.Lo and Diddy met actually while filming the music video for If You Had My Love back in 1998, not long after, Jennifer had gotten married to her first husband, Ohani Noah. By early 1999, Diddy and J.Lo were officially a couple, but Jen, has claimed Diddy aggressively, pursued her, calling her regularly and quickly confessing his love for her. She said, "I kept my distance from him, but then he kept calling me, and I guess it was fun at first. Now he's from New York, I'm from New York, we just speak the same language, and we both love music." She continued to say, "He guided me and was very sweet at first." Both J.Lo and Diddy were at the top of their game. They attended like every award show together, most famously the Grammys in 2000 when she wore that very iconic low-cut green tropical Versace dress. Now, in December 1999, the couple were arrested over a row at a club that ended with a blast out that left 3 injured. Now, in 2001, while they were still together, J.Lo even opened up about how Diddy would use her first marriage breakdown against her, threatening to divorce her despite not being married to to her. Later that year, J.Lo and Diddy did split, with the rapper blaming it primarily on their hectic schedules getting in the way of spending time with each other. Another reason for Diddy and J.Lo's split is, by his own admission, he never fully got over his ex Kim Porter, with whom, he had children with, and, when he met Jennifer. Now, despite calling J.Lo his perfect match, when discussing their relationship, he added, "I figured I'll give it a shot, and maybe Kim will catch on that I'm really into her and want her too." He would go on to say that he regretted doing that because it backfired, and he regretted dating her because apparently she brought a lot of drama to his life. That's rich coming from him. Marc Anthony is next. Jennifer Lopez and Marc Anthony's relationship and divorce were marked by a secret marriage, the birth of twins, and a difficult but amicable separation. Now, they met actually way back in 1998 while he was actually performing on Broadway in the musical The Capemen, which actually closed on March 28th, 1998. Now, in Lopez's memoir, True Love, she wrote that Anthony's first words to her were, "One day you're gonna be my wife." They were friends, but never actually thought of dating. In 2004, they married actually though in a secret ceremony. Anthony and Lopez, tied the knot in this very secret ceremony in June at Lopez's home in Beverly Hills. They dated for just 6 months before getting married, though, they didn't announce anything. The bands on their respective left fingers made the news public for them. Lopez later told People magazine, "When you find that person who doesn't run when things get hard, I think that's where, Mark proved to me that he was more of a man than anything I had experienced." In November 2007 is when they announced they were expecting, and by 2008, they had their twins, Em and Max. Anthony and Lopez announced that they were separating in July of 2011, with a source saying the couple split after months of non-stop arguing, and Marc and Jennifer decided, it's just best to go their separate ways for the sake of their twins. Now, weeks prior, Lopez actually sparked rumors of a split when she attended the BAFTA Brits to watch party in LA without her wedding ring or her husband. Now, following the announcement, a source said that Lopez was focusing on her work after the separation. They said for her, it's back to business. She is all about her career. She's excited to move on. Nearly 10 months after their separation, Anthony filed for divorce from Lopez, and on April 9, 2012, it was just citing irreconcilable differences. However, in the months following the separation, the former couple continued actually working together on music and as judges on a dance competition show. So despite them continuing their professional relationship, Marc did not maintain a personal one, except of course, co-parenting. Many people speculated that he regretted their marriage, and there's rumors he used to talk about that with his close friends, saying he wished that he never went there. Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez met a long time ago, actually all the way back in 1999 when A-Rod asked J.Lo for her autograph and gushed over the fact that she was actually his celebrity crush. It wasn't until 2005 that they would run into each other again at a Yankees game, but in 2017 the two reconnect, after bumping into each other at a restaurant. The rest is history, and from there they actually start to date, with the two making their first red carpet debut at the Met Gala. Now, going on a European vacation was another thing they did, then they had a joint birthday party, and then they just moved in with each other. It happened very quickly, but in 2019, the pair announced they got engaged while they were in the Bahamas. In 2020, their wedding got postponed due to the world basically ending, or so we thought, and in 2021, they break up and end their engagement. Many people thought, they would be like it for each other. They seemed to have a good, healthy, solid relationship that seemed different than any of J.Lo's past partners. Now, at first it was reported, that A-Rod had no regrets over his time with J.Lo, and he would go on to repeatedly tell anyone that would listen, that he had no hard feelings. He was very happy that they had their moment, and, just gushed over how talented she was. He said, "Jennifer's the most talented human being. Look, we had a great time." Also saying that she was like the hardest worker and the greatest performer that he's ever met, and he's happy they can maintain a friendship, but, as some time moved on, this tune kind of changed once she got back with Ben Affleck. Now, A-Rod seemed to be talking more while saying less. It's alleged he told a source close to him that, he said too many good things when he didn't actually mean it, and he said he had some regrets and wishes things went differently. He even shared a very cryptic post on Instagram during J.Lo's split from Ben, which had many people wondering what he was trying to insinuate. The post said, "You either go one way or you go the other. You might as well be the one deciding the direction." Now, of course, all of these are just rumors, and the details are not disclosed anywhere public, but according to this source, their breakup wasn't actually as pleasant as they led everyone to believe. Last on my list, I have Chris Judd. Now, Jennifer and Chris Judd met on the set of her music video for Love Don't Cost a Thing shortly after her breakup from Diddy in 2001. Now, they enjoyed, a whirlwind romance and tied the knot that same year, only for her to file for divorce less than a year later. Chris suggested his ex didn't put in the effort to make the marriage a success. He said to a news blog, "I can't give you the answer as to why her relationships don't work. I think that it's, the work. It's whether you want to work on it or not. When you sign up to get married, you can't just walk away." The dancer and choreographer actually recalled how tough it was living out their relationship in the public eye. He said, "It's very tough. Your privacy is breached. You're no longer a normal person. Our wedding was a circus. I think several people got arrested trying to climb up a mountain, trying to sneak in. We actually rented the airspace." But, with all of this, he still didn't blame Jennifer for the invasion of their privacy. He went on to say, "You kind of sign up for that, you kind of have to take it and accept it and embrace it. Once you stop fighting it, kind of smooths itself over. If you try to keep that privacy, it drives you nuts, and that's why people break." Although Chris said, they didn't call it quits due to the lack of privacy, he did say at the time that it just didn't work out. He would go on to later talk a little more freely about how he truly felt during their time together. He would tell people a lot that, he really just no longer felt like he was normal after marrying her. He also made claims, as did a lot of people, that she had cheated on him with Ben Affleck, since she was filming that horrible movie, Geely with Ben the same year that she married Chris. Now, however, J.Lo had denied those accusations many, many times. One person who wasn't convinced, however, was Chris's father. He actually went out of his way to tell the New York Daily News in 2003 that Jen was infatuated with Ben Affleck from the start and suggested that Lopez was not being truthful about her faithfulness. He actually said she'd be just happier if she would tell the truth. Basically, Chris's whole family actually blames Jennifer's feelings for Ben as the reason her marriage to Chris ended.
Elon Musk has now inserted himself into the Diddy drama by calling out Jennifer Lopez for not warning us about Diddy and all the horrible things he's done. Elon, though, is one to talk. Now, Musk was speaking on the Joe Rogan Experience when he began talking about J.Lo's criticism of the recently elected president and his remarks about Puerto Ricans. Elon then brought up J.Lo's personal history with Diddy as she dated him from 1999 to 2001. He said J.Lo was like his ex-girlfriend, and now all of a sudden she's warning people about Trump. How many people did she warn about Diddy? Oh, 0. Maybe we shouldn't trust her opinion. He then added people in the music entertainment industry had to know that Diddy was doing those things. Where's the accountability? They had to know. Again, this is somewhat hilarious coming from Elon considering all the horrible things he's done, but he's not the only celeb who's questioned J.Lo's involvement with the Diddy case. Ojani Noah, her ex-husband, claimed that she was involved in Diddy's freak-offs that came in his federal indictment. "I'm not on the list," he wrote on Instagram. To those people and media outlets asking if I ever went or participated in that piece of Diddy's freak-off parties, no and no. But my ex-wife, Jennifer Lopez, aka J.Lo, did. Ask her. Then Suge Knight believes that J.Lo and Ben Affleck's marriage fell apart because Homeland Security informed him that she was on the tapes that they found. "It's a white man who got respect in the white world," Knight said on his podcast Collect Calls. "I'm quite sure they said, we want to show you some things about your wife, and I'm quite sure they headed for divorce because that's a man who had a good life. Great parents don't spend a lot of money. Ain't tripping off paparazzi, he's living his life. He got his own team. She done brought all that extra out, and now that mother effer he want out." Now, J.Lo hasn't addressed the Diddy situation and will probably remain quiet on it. She was seen out recently and was interacting with fans when a paparazzi said, "J.Lo, do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations?" Now, immediately Jennifer stopped taking photos and giving autographs and sped off with her team away from fans.
Do you have any comments about P. Diddy and the allegations?
Go back up, look, don't lean. Jennifer, your sign, don't lean. Ignite your sign.
Now others called after her, telling the superstar don't leave, but despite the pleas, she headed away through a door, away from everyone. Now it's important to note that J.Lo has not been formally linked or accused to Diddy and his crimes. Just last week, one of J.Lo's past assistants has come forward and addressed her involvement. Thea D'Souza, who worked with J.Lo on the 2002 film Made in Manhattan, posted a statement on Threads recently that said, "If you knew Jennifer Lopez, if you ever worked with her like I did, or if you were close with people who are like family to her like I am, you would know she did not have any idea about Diddy. She barely drinks, she's not a partier, she isn't a good time girl, she is a workaholic who uplifts women and who was charmed by him for a brief time in her life." She then emphasized that J.Lo does not deserve to be conflated with Diddy's shocking and criminal misdeeds. Now, it does make sense though that people would question Jen's involvement, as she has been arrested with Diddy in the past. Yep, you heard that right. In 1999, Diddy was arrested following an incident that happened at a nightclub in New York. That night, Diddy was with his bodyguard, Anthony Wolf, rapper Jamal Shane Barrows, and Jennifer Lopez, who he was dating at the time. As reported by Forbes, the incident started with a disagreement and ended with 3 different people becoming injured. After the incident, Diddy, J.Lo, and Jamal left the scene, but then the 3 were involved in a police car chase. Now, it's even been rumored that J.Lo threw evidence out of the car during this case. According to the Washington Post, police found a stolen weapon in the car, and both Diddy and J.Lo were arrested and initially charged with criminal possession of stolen property. Now, the charges against J.Lo were dropped overnight, but Diddy and Jamal went to trial. Jennifer spent 14 hours in a police station as the result of her incident. Now, she later described it as an unfortunate situation, adding, "We were somewhere we shouldn't have been. It was a bad situation, and any bad situation that involves celebrities, people run with." Diddy faced additional charges of bribery, as he had allegedly offered the driver of the car $50,000 to say the weapon was his. Diddy was acquitted of the charges, and Jamal was charged with 5 offenses. Now, he served 10 years for his charges, according to the New York Times. But nobody was ever charged and found guilty of the actual incident. One woman who was a victim of the incident claims that Diddy injured her, which Diddy has denied. Natania Rubin filed a $130 million lawsuit for compensation against Diddy in 2008, which was then settled out of court in June 2011. Now, J.Lo has rarely spoken about the incident, but in the year 2000, she did address it in an interview with British Elle. She said, "It was a complete nightmare. I had absolutely no idea what was going on. No one did." Now, J.Lo was in a little bit more trouble when they were arrested, because up until that point, she said she was born in 1970, but she was actually born in 1969. Now, it's just very strange to me because her age only changed 1 year. It seems like such an insignificant detail to me, and I don't know why she would change it, and it seems like no one really knows why, but multiple theories think it might have had to do with her schooling. Others say she did it to appear younger in Hollywood, but again, it's only 1 year. If she said she was 5 years younger than she really was, I'd believe that theory, but only 1 year doesn't really make any sense. But recently now, one of Diddy's accusers, Rodney Jones, who filed a lawsuit against the star, claimed that Diddy was responsible for the incident in the nightclub in New York and alleged that Diddy bragged about using J.Lo to smuggle the weapon into the club. He shared that artist and Diddy's girlfriend at the time, J.Lo, carried the weapon into the club for him and passed it to him after he got into an altercation with another individual, he alleged in the lawsuit. Now, all I can say is yikes. Diddy has denied the accusations, but again, J.Lo has remained silent. Is there more to the story than J.Lo is letting on? Regardless, I think she needs to clear her name, whether she puts out a statement herself or through a representative, because all of this is not a good look at all. Now, Diddy was arrested in September for running a crime ring for over a decade. While in jail, he's been faced with multiple lawsuits, and he's getting more and more every day, it appears. In October, Tony Busby, a Texas-based attorney, announced he was representing more than 120 men and women against Diddy. The criminal complaint states that Diddy held freak-offs where he distributed a variety of controlled substances to victims, in part to keep the victims obedient and compliant. Now, Diddy's attorneys have repeatedly denied the allegations. Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts, their legal defenses, and the integrity of the judicial process, his attorney said in a statement to CNN. In court, the truth will prevail. When you have a consistent line of victims alleging the same or similar claims, it just gives a lot more credibility to the allegations, said Trey Lovell, a Los Angeles-based entertainment attorney. Now, Nancy Erica Smith, an attorney in New Jersey, said, "The evidence, I think, is overwhelming," adding that the lawsuits are helping to change the culture. "I think that women are going to be less likely to tolerate it and fearful to speak out, and other women are going to come forward." Yeah, it just does not look good for Diddy, and with this though, it has people questioning whether those close to him knew about the crimes or even participated in them. That's why J.Lo's name has been dragged through the mud. It appears that we'll only learn more during Diddy's trial, which is set for May 5th, 2025. Jennifer Lopez has been in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons recently, and it's all because of Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck has had a complicated relationship with J.Lo, as they were once engaged, but they called the wedding off. They then got back together, and it was recently the couple's 2-year wedding anniversary, but it's said that they are heading for divorce. It appears that Ben has woken up to how crazy Jen is and wants to end the relationship once again. An inside source close to In Touch Weekly said the reason for Ben taking such measures like moving out is because at the end of the day, Ben has to protect himself, and that's why he initiated the separation. He's scared if they stay together, he could seriously self-destruct. They said while he has been spotted spending quality time alone with J.Lo in recent days, he now feels his head is clear and he can move on. If there was a way to divorce on the grounds of temporary insanity, he would. He feels like the last 2 years was just a fever dream, and he's come to his senses and now understands there's just no way this is going to work. Now, Jennifer Garner hasn't said too much when it comes to Ben and Jennifer's divorce rumors, as she has been pretty supportive of the pair. Well, that's until now. Sources are now saying that she's drawing a line when it comes to their relationship drama affecting their kids. A close source recently revealed to Fox News Digital that Garner wasn't expecting Ben to rekindle his relationship with Lopez or all the media attention that comes with it. Now, Garner and Affleck share 3 children, and Garner has always been super protective of their privacy. But ever since Ben and Lopez's high-profile marriage, it's been paparazzi galore, and apparently Garner's not having it. It's not just the flashing cameras and the headlines though, there's also been a lot of speculation about the state of Ben and J.Lo's marriage, and it's weighing on Garner too. Now, based on numerous conversations on his show, Howard Stern has flat out claimed that he doesn't like J.Lo, her music, or how she's acted in her career. When Howard first got the job as a judge on America's Got Talent, there were a lot of concerned viewers. However, one of his first interviews as a judge, he tried to make his case by slamming other celebrity judges who, in his opinion, are more focused on advancing their own careers than doing the job they've been hired to do. "I was critical of American Idol J.Lo because I felt that she never said anything negative, let's say, and I felt like, well, it helped her career. She got very far. She suddenly got back on the charts and the show was good for her, and it became more about J.Lo." Now, on top of this, Howard has repeatedly bashed all of J.Lo's music. In 2011, Howard and his co-host Robin Quivers dissected her hit single On the Floor and repeatedly played the sound of Howard banging his head against the wall in time with the music. Then in 2019, Howard called out Jimmy Fallon for praising J.Lo's Super Bowl halftime show performance. Now, this doesn't even scratch the surface of how many times he's bashed her. J.Lo and Shakira came together to perform on the football field at the Super Bowl in 2020. Now, as 2 Latina women, their performance was for the history books, as it was the first time that 2 Latinx artists have teamed up to headline the coveted halftime slot. Now, in the halftime documentary though, it showed J.Lo being frustrated with the NFL for booking 2 headliners and making them share the same amount of time that any solo performer would receive, as opposed to doubling it and giving the women extra time to shine, later branding the whole thing the worst idea in the world. "It's such a big stage and it's such an important show, and it's been a nightmare since we started," she adds. "I'm trying to give you something with substance, not just us out there shaking our effing butts and effing belly dancing." Now, not long after the doc was released, this particular line of dialogue was shared across Twitter, with a number of fans raising concerns about what J.Lo might have been insinuating about the art of belly dancing. Now, for some context, belly dancing has been long associated with Middle Eastern cultures, and from the earliest days of her career, Shakira has been known for this style of dance. So, it was pretty rude and insensitive of J.Lo to say that, and I'm sure Shakira didn't appreciate it. In early July 2003, Jennifer fired her manager Benny Medina. She accused him of violating California's Talent Agency Act, filed a petition accusing him of misappropriating misappropriating her money and sought millions back in commissions plus 10% interest. Now, the assertion was that Benny was not a licensed talent agent under the Labor Commissioner, a violation that entitles a performer to seek a refund for any payments to the acting talent agent. Now, in J.Lo's case, this amounted to 10% of earnings from movies and television, 15% of her music, recording and publishing earnings, and 10% of her earnings from other activities. Now, Benny denied the allegations, saying, "Jennifer Lopez, by making false allegations against me, is now adding me to the long list of people whom she has used and discarded after she took from them all she could get." Now, in the end, that December, Fox News reported the dispute was settled quietly some time ago. J.Lo then later rehired Benny to revive her music career in 2005, and the two have remained friends and business partners ever since, but it seems like he should keep his guard up if she really did lie about all of that. Now, Scott Barnes has worked for J.Lo since the year 2000, but that doesn't mean there haven't been ups and downs. During an interview on the Jeff Probst show, Scott set the record straight after rumors circulated that he and two others leaked plans of J.Lo and Mark Anthony's secret marriage, and as a result, J.Lo's team shunned Scott, and they did shun Scott indeed. He said, "Nobody would talk to me, it was like I had the plague." Then when the truth came out that Scott did not leak the news or even know about the wedding ahead of time, he received a phone call, presumably from Jen, who Scott claimed said the following. "It was like, hey, it was a big misunderstanding, you know we have a lot of stuff coming up and I really miss you, so let's just get back to work." Although Scott was very gracious about the whole thing, it appears that J.Lo did not apologize to him. Now, almost as soon as Jennifer shared a photo of her and Drake backstage at her Las Vegas show in December 2016, the rumor mill began turning, reporting that the pair were dating. The caption she used for the pic said, "Look who rolled up to my show tonight to say hi, #love him." Now, the singer sure didn't help matters when she uploaded an image of the Canadian rapper giving her a bear hug and looking rather cozy snuggling up to her. Now, while some people didn't believe the headlines, Drake's on-again, off-again love interest, Rihanna, sure seemed to have taken the post to heart and was not happy. According to an unnamed insider who spoke with In Touch, she felt like she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and dubbed J.Lo as desperate and a traitor. Although Rihanna never publicly addressed the issue, she did appear to throw some major shade in the most subtle of ways when in December of 2016, she suddenly unfollowed Jen on Instagram. Jennifer Lopez and Jenna Dewan seemed to get along just fine when they both appeared on NBC's World of Dance, the reality dance competition which premiered in 2017, saw Jen taking on the role of executive producer and judge, while Jenna acted as a host and mentor. Now, the pair, who were both dancers, never showed any signs of animosity on the small screen, but according to OK Magazine, the vibe was very different behind the scenes. Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery, the outlet quotes an unnamed source saying. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. Every situation, even off-camera, is micromanaged by J.Lo, and Jenna feels excluded, the insider concluded. J.Lo and Madonna's feud all began when Madonna was asked who she thinks is the best female singer in the world, and she said Jennifer Lopez was a good actress, but she couldn't sing. Then in a 1998 interview, Jennifer fired back at Madonna saying she wasn't a good actor while promoting her film Out of Sight. When asked about Madonna's acting skills, J.Lo didn't hold back. "Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." After the interview was published, J.Lo regretted everything she said about her colleagues and said it was all a joke. However, it was already too late as Madonna had already read the interview and reportedly felt disrespected. TikTok videos have unveiled the stories over the past years, and one of the topics was about J.Lo's backup singer, Julia Wang, who saw firsthand her mean girl side. "If you were pretty or if you were a Latina, like game over, she hated you," Julia said of the singer. "She just acted like a bully. Can you imagine spending time with someone working in a closed setting every single day for months, and this person not even acknowledging you or acting like you exist?" Now, although we don't have proof of this, it definitely feels like something J.Lo would do, as she has a reputation for being a diva. Starting off, we have Mariah Carey. The Jennifer-Mariah feud has played out since the early 2000s, and it all began with four little words Mariah Carey once uttered to a German reporter: "I don't know her." Now, both stars have repeatedly been asked about the comment, and they can't seem to decide whether they like each other or not. When Andy Cohen brought up the feud on his show, Watch What Happens Live, in 2014, Jennifer played the whole thing off, saying, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we've never met. Like, we don't know each other." She added, "I would love to meet her and I'd love to be friends with her. However, during a 2016 appearance on the Wendy Williams show, Jennifer said, "Mariah does say that she's forgetful, I guess. We've met many times." Now that same year, Mariah spoke to Andy Cohen about the feud and stood her ground, reiterating, "I don't know her. What am I supposed to say?" Then, following her disastrous New Year's Eve performance that December, Jennifer found an opportunity to throw shade. When an Instagram user posted about the Trainwreck show, writing, "Ever seen an accident you couldn't take your eyes away from? That was her tonight." J.Lo liked the post. Then when Mariah published her memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, in September 2020, she not only revealed the root of her feud with J.Lo, but she also made sure to throw shade at her. Now in the book, Mariah slams her ex-husband Tommy Mottola and the then chairman and CEO of Sony Music Entertainment, accusing him of trying to ruin her career and getting Jennifer Lopez involved. Yeah, I don't think they'll be making up anytime soon. Next up is Ojani Noah. Although J.Lo's short-lived marriage to Ojani Noah ended in 1998, it seems her ex can't stand her. Despite the fact that they were only married for 9 months, Noah has been trying to slander his former flame and keep his name in the news by any means possible. In 2006, he set out to publish a tell-all book dubbed The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller, which Jennifer stopped with a lawsuit, claiming that her ex was breaking their confidentiality agreement. She was then awarded $545,000 in damages, and Noah was slapped with a court order which forbade him from criticizing, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. Just 3 years later, he then made headlines again when he threatened to release videos taped during the pair's honeymoon, showing the pop star in a revealing lack of clothing and sexual situations, especially in the hotel room. Now this caused her to file a $10 million lawsuit against him, and meanwhile, during a 2016 appearance on $1 Million Matchmaker, he dumped the blame on his former wife, saying she caused their split and claiming, "I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made her choice of her career instead of me." So yeah, due to all that, I think it's safe to say that neither of them want to work together or even be in the same room. Then there's Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj and Jennifer Lopez's first feud happened during a 2012 American Idol episode when Nicki performed and J.Lo was working as a judge. As the rapper finished her set, she asked, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. J.Lo, can you scoot over a little bit?" Now things got more awkward when Jennifer said, "I don't know if there's enough room for both of us." Now not letting go, Nicki got fired up and told the Hollywood Reporter backstage she didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it, before trying to smooth things over, saying, "We were just joking around." Now fast forward to 2015, however, and things between the two didn't seem to be any better. When J.Lo opened the American Music Awards with a medley of songs that included an expert from Nicki Minaj's Anaconda, there was one person in the audience who appeared to be totally unimpressed: Nicki herself. Now as the camera cut to Nicki, her emotionless face said it all. Now we have Rosie Perez. On the surface, it seems like Rosie Perez and Jennifer, who have known each other for decades as they met in 1991 at an opening casting call for In Living Color's Fly Girl Dancers, were great friends. But despite having a lot in common, according to Rosie's 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, there's no love between them. In the book, Rosie recalled their time working together on the show and took the opportunity to paint J.Lo negatively. "All the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage," she wrote, accusing J.Lo of acting like some ghetto biatch, screaming and pounding her chest. Although J.Lo left In Living Color just after 2 seasons, Rosie accused the star of keeping their feud long alive after they both parted ways. In the book, she portrayed the singer as being two-faced, saying she made disparaging comments about her in Hollywood, then acted friendly. "She came over to me smiling, saying hello as if nothing happened," Rosie recalled of an encounter the pair had at a club. Moving on to Jenna Dewan. Jennifer Lopez and Jenna Dewan seemed to get along just fine when they both appeared on NBC's World of Dance. Now the reality dance competition, which premiered in 2017, saw J.Lo taking on the role of executive producer and judge, while Jenna acted as host and mentor. Now the pair, who are both dancers, never showed any signs of animosity on the small screen, but according to OK Magazine, the vibe was very differently behind the scenes. Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery, the outlet quotes an unnamed source as saying. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. Every situation, even off camera, is micromanaged by J.Lo, and Jenna feels very excluded, the insider concluded. Then there's Rihanna. Almost as soon as Jennifer Lopez shared a snap of herself chilling with Drake backstage at her Las Vegas show in December 2016, it was reported that the pair were dating. Now the caption she used for the pic was, "Look who rolled up to my show tonight to say hi, #love him." She then made another post of him giving her a bear hug and looking rather cozy snuggling up to her. While some didn't believe the headlines, Drake's on-again, off-again love interest at the time, Rihanna, sure seemed to take the post to heart. According to an unnamed insider who spoke with In Touch, she felt like she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and dubbed Lopez desperate and a traitor. After all, the two used to be close, and it's said that Rihanna had confided in J.Lo about her rocky relationship with Drake. Now, although Rihanna never publicly addressed the issue, she unfollowed Jennifer shortly after. Now let's talk about Gwyneth Paltrow. During an interview in 1998, Jennifer threw some major shade at Gwyneth Paltrow by pretending not to know who she was. "Tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she's been in," she told Movie Line. Later, she made it sound like Paltrow only became famous though because of her relationship with Brad Pitt. "Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard of her work," Jen said. Now, Gwyneth hasn't responded publicly, but you have to assume that the comments weren't well received. Now, it's just so funny because didn't J.Lo get mad at Mariah for doing the same thing? Now we have Cameron Diaz. Cameron Diaz was most likely a fan of J.Lo until J.Lo said some rude things about her. Now, Jennifer dismissed her, saying she was a lucky model who had been given a lot of opportunities. "I just wish she would have done more with them." Now, Cameron in turn has commented on J.Lo's behavior on the set of 2012's What to Expect When You're Expecting. J.Lo pretty much ignored Diaz, and for her part, Cameron has said that the huge entourage that Jennifer insists on bringing along with her, and her tendency to do things like stop in the middle of the scene if she has a meal break schedule, made her difficult, if not impossible, to work with. She said J.Lo should stick to singing, referring to it as her day job. Yeah, it seems like with having that experience, Cameron would not want to be on set with her again. Next is Madonna. Now, their feud all began when Madonna was asked who she thinks is the best female singer in the world, and she said Jennifer Lopez was a good actress, but she couldn't sing. Then in a 1998 interview, Jennifer fired back at Madonna, saying she wasn't a good actor while promoting her film Out of Sight. When asked about Madonna's acting skills, J.Lo didn't hold back. "Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, after the interview was published, J.Lo regretted everything she said about her colleagues and said it was all a joke. However, it was already too late as Madonna had already read the interview and reportedly felt disrespected. Then there was a New Year's Eve party hosted by Donatella Versace that year, which was attended by J.Lo, Madonna, and Christopher Saccone. Christopher explained that Ingrid Caress, Madonna's close friend, ran to the courtyard during the celebration and shouted, "J.Lo is here and we're not talking to her." He then said everyone except for him and Donatella Versace gave Jennifer the cold shoulder. And finally, we have Shakira. J.Lo had some not so nice things to say about her halftime performer Shakira. Now, Jennifer has claimed that her Super Bowl performance with Shakira was the worst idea in the world. She didn't hold back in her Netflix documentary Halftime as she slammed the NFL's decision to organize two halftime show performers for the 2020 show. She said that both should have had their singing moments and hit out at organizers for giving her just 6 minutes. Previous performers, including Madonna and Lady Gaga, were each given more than 13 minutes to perform solo. In Jennifer's documentary, the singer tells Shakira that unnamed NFL sources told her that they'd have about 12 minutes combined to perform. However, she said that they would probably get a minute or two added on. If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes, Jennifer said. Now, the Super Bowl halftime show ended up running for about 14 minutes, giving them 7 minutes each to perform some of their biggest hits, but Jennifer didn't want to share the spotlight. So starting off, we obviously have Mariah Carey. Now, the Mariah Carey-Jennifer Lopez feud has been going on for years. It all started with J.Lo collaborating with Mariah's ex-husband, Sony record executive Tommy Mottola. Now, Mariah claims that Tommy used J.Lo to try and get back at her and accused them of stealing songs. Later on, Mariah was doing an interview for the German television program TAF, and she was asked about other pop stars, including J.Lo. When she was asked this, Mariah just shook her head back and forth and said, "I don't know her." Now, the interview was uploaded to YouTube in 2008, and it quickly became a viral meme. Now, both stars have repeatedly been asked about the comment, and they can't seem to decide whether they like each other or not. In 2014, Jennifer appeared on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live, and during a game of Plead the Fifth, she was asked about where her relationship with Mariah stands. When Andy said, "I've always heard there was a feud there," Jennifer responded, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day I've read things she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met, like we don't know each other. I think it's kind of from word of mouth of things that have happened in the past that I'm not really aware of." She added, "I would love to meet her and I would love to be friends with her. I think she's incredibly talented and I've always been a fan of hers." But that same year, Mariah spoke to Andy Cohen about the feud and she stood her ground, reiterating, "I don't know her, what am I supposed to say?" Then this year, among J.Lo's drama with Ben Affleck and her failed tour, a source exclusively told In Touch, "It's no secret that Mariah can't stand J.Lo. They've had a feud going back more than 20 years, so of course she's thrilled to see her ticket sales in the toilet," said the source. Mariah is never shy about trash talking J.Lo and always complains about how overrated and phony she is. She's happy the public is finally seeing it too. Seems like these two will never make up. Now, Rosie Perez used to work with J.Lo and they met in 1991 during an open casting call for the Fly Girl dancers. Now, Rosie was the show's Fly Girl choreographer and she claims that she was the one who convinced host and creator Keenan Ivory Wayans to pick J.Lo. Now, J.Lo made her debut in September 1991, but she really didn't get along with her fellow dancers. Rosie wrote about this in her 2014 memoir, revealing that hiring J.Lo was a mistake. "All the girls were coming into my office complaining about how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage." Now, Rosie wrote in her memoir saying that Jen thought the girls were just jealous. She went on to say that J.Lo dropped her sweet girl act and went off on Rosie like some ghetto biatch, screaming and pounding her chest. Rosie claims she shouted, "You pick on me and only me, every effing day, every effing day. I work my ass off, deliver, and you keep pushing me aside, treating me like, shh, I know I'm good, I'm better than any of those girls and you know it." Now, J.Lo then left the show after 2 years, but she still made life difficult for Rosie as she talked crap about her. After being hurt by the alleged comments, Rosie was then surprised when J.Lo was friendly to her at a nightclub years later. "Jennifer came over to me smiling, saying hello as if nothing had happened. I should have let it go, played it off too. Instead, I killed her with my biting tongue," Rosie wrote. But Rosie later explained to Piers Morgan that tabloids made a feud between them a major thing when it just wasn't. "I don't hate Jennifer Lopez, I have great respect for her," she said. "When I first saw her, I knew she was going to be a star. Yes, we had a tiff and it was 20 years ago. It's unfortunate that the tabloids try to portray it as something that is current," she says. Regardless, Rosie had a past with J.Lo and wasn't afraid to call her out. Howard Stern has claimed many times on his radio show that he doesn't like J.Lo, her music, or how she's acted in her career. Now, because of this, Jennifer has avoided him, as when Howard first got the job as a judge on America's Got Talent, he tried to make his case by slamming other celebrity judges who, in his opinion, are more focused on advancing their own careers than doing the job they're hired to do. "I think a lot of the celebrity judges are not that good at judging, they're more interested in promoting their career," he said in a red carpet interview with HLN in 2012. "I was critical of American Idol J.Lo because I felt that she never said anything negative, let's say. And I felt like, well, it helped her career. She got very far, she suddenly got back on the charts and the show was good for her. And it became more about J.Lo." Now, on top of this, Howard has reportedly bashed all of J.Lo's music. In 2011, Howard and his co-host Robin Quivers dissected her hit single On the Floor and repeatedly played the sound of Howard banging his head against the wall in time to the music. In 2016, Howard compared J.Lo's music to that of a homeless woman who sang a nonsensical song for his staffers. Then in 2019, he called out Jimmy Fallon for praising J.Lo's Super Bowl halftime show performance, and this doesn't even scratch the surface of how many times he's bashed her, so safe to say, he's not afraid of calling out the star. In early July 2003, Jennifer fired her manager Benny Medina. She accused him of violating California's Talent Agency Act, filed a petition accusing him of misappropriating her money, and sought millions in back commissions plus 10% interest, according to Billboard. It was said that Benny was not a licensed talent agent under the Labor Commissioner, a violation that entitles a performer to seek a refund for any payments to the acting talent agent up to a year before filing the petition. Now, in J.Lo's case, this amounted to 10% of earnings from movies and television, 15% of her music, recording and publishing earnings, and 10% of her earnings from other activities, including fashion and cosmetic interests. Benny denied the allegations, saying Jennifer Lopez Lopez, by making false allegations against me, is now trying to add me to the long list of people whom she has used and discarded after she took from them all she could get. I will defend myself against these lies and will collect from her every dollar which I am owed. Now, in the end, that December, it was reported that the dispute was settled quietly some time ago. Now, Jennifer later rehired Benny to revive her music career in 2005, and the two have remained friends and business partners ever since, but it just kinda seems off. Then there was the time J.Lo's makeup artist Scott Barnes was fired after being accused of leaking information to the press about J.Lo's marriage to Mark Anthony. During an interview on the Jeff Probst show, Scott set the record straight after rumors circulated that he and two others leaked plans of J.Lo and Anthony's secret marriage, and as a result, J.Lo's team shunned Scott. He said, "No one would talk to me, it was like I had the plague." Then, when the truth came out that Scott did not leak the news or even know about the wedding ahead of time, he received a phone call from Jen, who Scott claims said the following. It was like, "Hey, it was a big misunderstanding. You know, we have a lot of stuff coming up and I really miss you, so let's just get back to work." Now, although Scott was very gracious about the whole thing, it appears that J.Lo did not apologize to him. Why he would go back to work for her, I have no clue, but at least he got the truth out that it was not him who leaked the news. And finally, we have J.Lo and Madonna. Now, their feud all began when Madonna was asked about who she thinks is the best female singer in the world, and she said Jennifer Lopez was a good actress, but couldn't sing. Then in a 1998 interview, Jennifer fired back at Madonna, saying she wasn't a good actor while promoting her film Out of Sight. When asked about Madonna's acting skills, J.Lo didn't hold back. "Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft." Now, after the interview was published, J.Lo regretted everything she said about her colleagues and said it was all a joke. But Madonna had already read the interview and reportedly felt disrespected, so there was no turning back. Then there was a New Year's Eve party hosted by Donatella Versace that year, which was attended by J.Lo, Madonna, and Christopher Saccone. Christopher explained that Ingrid Carrasez, Madonna's closest friend, ran into the courtyard during the celebration and shouted, "J.Lo is here and we are not talking to her." He said everyone except for him and Donatella Versace gave Jennifer the cold shoulder. And honestly, I kinda think she deserves it. Now, since then, Madonna has made a couple digs towards J.Lo in the media, and their relationship is still rocky.
At number 10, we have Jennifer's dismissal of bad teacher actress Cameron Diaz when she made the comment that she believes Cameron is a quote, lucky model who's been given a lot of opportunities, and how she wishes she would have done more with them. In turn, Cameron made a statement that Jennifer's behavior on set was rather cold, as she pretty much ignored her. She also described Jennifer as being someone who was hard to work with. As a clapback, Cameron further pushed that J.Lo should stick to her day job of singing. However, in the same Jennifer interview, it wasn't just Cameron that she came for. She also took shots at fellow actresses Gwyneth Paltrow and Winona Ryder. For Gwyneth, Jennifer said, "Tell me what she's been in? I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work." On Winona, Jennifer recalled, "I was never a big fan of hers. In Hollywood, she's revered. She gets nominated for Oscars, but I've never heard anyone in the public or among my friends say, oh, I love her." At number 9, we have radio show host and interviewer Howard Stern, whose reasonings for not liking J.Lo comes in many forms. For one, he hates her music. Howard's typical musical vibe is 90s rock and grunge rather than early 2000s pop. But not only does Howard not enjoy Jennifer's music, he's also bashed it in the form of jokes on numerous occasions, despite his attraction to fairly few pop songs in the past. In summary, it was Howard Stern's show co-host Robin who made claims while they watched her on the floor music video that radio stations were hesitant to play the song since she hadn't been charting for a while. Apparently, to further this point, he described that the relevance of J.Lo being a judge on American Idol kind of forced the song down consumers' throats, and Howard later accused Jennifer of being self-absorbed because the single debuted on American Idol. Howard further bashed her Super Bowl performance and even ridiculed Jimmy Fallon's praises for it as well. There was also the incident where Howard claims he spent the entirety of his run-in with his friend Mark Anthony, who was married to Jennifer at the time, being completely ignored. This further pushed the established reputation of Jennifer being a snotty diva. Howard's last straw was Jennifer's interview, where she was asked if if she found Howard attractive, and remained silent while expressing a puking expression. Since then, Howard has not let up on the insults about her attitude, music, and business choices whenever she's brought up on his show. At number 8, we have Gloria Estefan's shade to Jennifer for her halftime documentary spiel about performing with Shakira for the 2020 Super Bowl. When Gloria admitted she chose not to participate with no regrets, she blasted Jennifer's comments about their experience when she sat down with Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live in June. Quote, "Imagine what J.Lo would have said if I was third. I literally would come out, done, shake your booty, and out. It was their moment, plus I didn't want to go on a diet in December." This was in light of J.Lo's reaction to Shakira co-headlining the sports event. Benny Medina said in the film that it was insulting of the Super Bowl to request 2 Latina artists when one had already historically done the work. Yet Jennifer was the one who was upset about splitting her time on stage, stating that they only had 5 minutes to sing all their desired songs accurately. Quote, "We have to have our singing moments. This is the worst idea in the world to have 2 people do the Super Bowl." While Jennifer and Shakira communicated about their upcoming performance, Jennifer added, "They said 12 minutes. I got a good confirmation that we could have an extra minute or 2, so now we're at like 13-14 minutes. I think Shakira, what we should have is you should have half the time and I should. If it was going to be a double headliner, they should have given us 20 minutes. That's what they should have effing done." At number 7, we have singer Brandy, who was apparently picking sides when the Lopez-Carrey feud was at its peak. Brandy had shared an Instagram photo of her embracing Mariah in 2017 with a short 3-word caption of #SheKnows Me. Brandy's followers were on her like water as soon as the post was uploaded, speculating that the caption had everything to do with Mariah's famously memed "I don't know her." In response, Brandy denied there being any drama, rearranging the captions and then say, "I swear I don't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture. And whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable. You know that I am." Brandy also continued unapologetically with, "I've met her several times like the several seats that should be taken. She does know me." And if things couldn't get any shadier, Mariah made sure to clear things up in Brandy's comments with a simple "I sure do." At number 6, we have J.Lo's first husband, Ohani Noah. Despite their marriage being short-lived and ending as of 1998, it seems Ohani still can't stand Miss Jenny from the block. Their 9-month marriage apparently wasn't all that great, as Ohani had been working hard to slander his ex-wife's name on a number of occasions. Back in 2006, Ohani published a tell-all titled The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller. J.Lo halted this project with a lawsuit and claimed that Ohani was breaking their confidentiality agreement. Jennifer won $545,000 in damages, and Ohani was given a court date which forbid him from criticizing, denigrating, casting in a negative light, or otherwise disparaging Jennifer. In the next 3 years, Ohani threw himself back into news outlets when he made threats to release a sexually suggestive video of Jennifer that was filmed during their honeymoon and resulted in another $10 million lawsuit. In 2016, his appearance on $1 Million Matchmaker saw Ohani claiming he loaded the blame on Jennifer for their split and how he was looking forward to spending a lifetime with her before she chose her career over him. At number 5, we have former NBC World of Dance TV host and mentor Jenna Dewan, who sat on the panel with then executive producer Jennifer. Although the two dancers and celebrities seemed fine during the 2017 reality dance competition tapings, their animosity behind the scenes apparently ran deep. An unnamed outlet source once stated on Jenna's behalf that Jenna, quote, "can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery," adding that Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. Every situation, even off camera, is micromanaged by J.Lo, and Jenna feels very excluded. This alleged feud seemed to be squashed fairly quickly though when Gossip Cop reached out to a show producer and one of Jenna's reps and was informed that the reported beef was misleading. However, given Jennifer's past, can we really be sure of this? At number 4, we have actress Rosie Perez. She and Jennifer apparently had lifelong ties with one another that seemed great on the outside. But both Puerto Rican dancers raised in New York have zero love for each other, according to Rosie's 2014 Handbook for an Unpredictable Life memoir. In it, Rosie discusses working on In Living Color with Jennifer in a wickedly horrible light. Quote, "All the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me all to her advantage." Despite Jennifer dipping from ILC after 2 seasons, Rosie stuck with her words of Jennifer supposedly keeping the flame of their feud burning for years after they parted. The words on the pages of Rosie's book portrayed Jennifer to be a two-faced person who would crap on Rosie 1 minute but then act super sweet like nothing happened between them the next. At number 3, we have artist Rihanna, who seemed to be unimpressed by Jennifer after the star posted herself chilling with Rihanna's on-again off-again reported love interest Drake backstage at her 2016 Winter Vegas show. Naturally, Jennifer's snap captioned, "Look who rolled up at my show tonight to say hi, #love him," sparked massive dating rumors, and it probably didn't help that Jennifer uploaded a follow-up pic of her and Drake bear hugging and looking overly comfortable snuggling up. While many were unconvinced about the headlines, Rihanna was seemingly not here for any of it, which is why she reportedly went on to dub Jennifer as a desperate traitor. According to an unnamed insider who spoke to Touch, Rihanna had felt like she experienced the ultimate betrayal by Jennifer, since they once had a tight-knit bond where Rihanna could seek solace in Jennifer for her relationship. Rihanna did not publicly address their rumored issues, however, she did seem to throw some shade when she suddenly hit the unfollow button on J.Lo's Insta. At number 2, we have Nicki and Jennifer's heated back and forth jabs that started with an exchange during a 2012 American Idol episode, where Nicki performed and Jennifer was a judge. When the female rapper completed her set, she boldly asked, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. J.Lo, can you scoot over a bit?" To which Jennifer immediately quips, "I don't know if there's enough room for the both of us." Nicki seemed to hold on to that comment when she attempted to smooth things over back with The Hollywood Reporter, saying, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it. We were just joking around." However, in 2015, things were still just as messy when Jennifer opened the American Music Awards performing a medley of songs which included Nicki's hit Anaconda. Nicki seemed to be unimpressed by her performance, as the camera gave away her emotionless expression, which told us everything we needed to know, as one fan hinted. Nicki came to Jennifer's defense at that point though, when she fired back with a tweet to a fan explaining, "I'm looking at my own face on the screen when I'm looking to the right. I turn back and look at her." At number 1, we have the iconic "I don't know her" rivalry that has been carried out for years now. This beef has been ongoing since the early 2000s, with both stars being repeatedly questioned on whether or not they actually like each other. It seems they can't really decide though. Host Andy Cohen brought up their beef on his show in 2014, where Jennifer nonchalantly played the situation off with, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I've read things she said about me that were not the greatest, but we don't know each other. I would love to meet her and I would love to be friends with her." However, she told Wendy Williams the exact opposite in 2016 for her show, explaining, "She's forgetful, I guess. We've met many times." Andy went straight to the source to speak with Mariah that same year, and in response, Mariah reiterated, "I don't know her. What am I supposed to say?" Jennifer of course took this as major shade, and when people were flaming Mariah for her quote disastrous New Year's Eve performance that winter, Jennifer threw some shade of her own by liking a post referring to Mariah's performance as a train wreck.
Number 10, Mariah Carey. This celebrity feud is legendary, so it's only fair that we start off with this one. J.Lo and Mariah Carey have been at each other's throats since the early 2000s. In fact, most people remember the iconic line that Mariah told a German reporter, "I don't know her." Although it sounds hilarious, Mariah has maintained her negative opinion of J.Lo all these years. For example, an interviewer once asked her what she thought about Beyonce and Jennifer Lopez, and she responded by saying that they don't even belong in the same category for a very specific reason. Well, it's hard. You can't really put those two people in the same category because one is in a really different generation. They just started singing later. But when you talk about Beyonce, I think she's wonderful, she's great, she's a talented person. But it seemed that she forgot to compliment J.Lo as well. A few years later, Carey spoke to Andy Cohen and doubled down on her comments. Quote, "I don't know her, what am I supposed to say?" It looks like it'll take a miracle for these two iconic performers to ever be on good terms. Number 9, Rihanna. There are several celebrities who can't stand Jennifer Lopez, but one of the biggest critics of the iconic singer is Rihanna. These two former best friends had a serious falling out in 2016 for the oldest reason in the book. They were fighting over the same guy. Before the feud began, Rihanna and J.Lo were friendly to each other and had no reason for animosity. But trouble started brewing right after Rihanna and Drake broke up. They had a summer fling that same year, which was pretty casual, but it definitely still counted. Girl code was broken when J.Lo started getting close with Drake almost immediately after. But the feud really became public when Jennifer posted a photo of her and Drake hanging out backstage at her show in Las Vegas with the caption #LoveHim. In fact, the two were even spotted hugging, and fans quickly realized that something very shady was happening. An inside source close to the star said that Riri felt like she had suffered the ultimate betrayal and called Jennifer's behavior desperate. It must have been accurate because in December of 2016, she suddenly unfollowed Lopez on Instagram. Number 8, Gloria Estefan. Cuban-American superstar Gloria Estefan was originally supposed to be performing at the 2020 Super Bowl alongside fellow Latina pop stars J.Lo and Shakira. But after seeing J.Lo's new documentary called Halftime, where the singer went on a rant about having to share the stage with Shakira, Gloria put her comments on blast. She didn't seem to agree that it was the worst idea ever to have the artist share the stage, and explained why Lopez got it wrong on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen,
Quote, "Look, this is the bottom line. You have very little time, like 12 minutes or something, to get things on and off the set. So could you do it with one person? Yes. But I think they wanted to throw a Miami and Latin extravaganza and they tried to pack it in as much as possible." The Grammy Award winner also confirmed that she chose not to participate for a reason, seeing as J.Lo got so worked up about having two people perform. Quote, "Okay, and imagine what J.Lo would have said if I was the third. I literally would come out, done a shake your booty and out." But she went on to insist that it was their moment and that she didn't want to go on a diet in December anyway. Number 7. Nick Cannon. The Wild 'N Out star took a cue from his ex-wife Mariah Carey's famous phrase to throw shade at Jennifer Lopez during his guest appearance on The Wendy Williams Show. While discussing Hollywood crushes during the Hot Topic segment, the 41-year-old first named Carrey, his ex-wife and mother to their two twins, Moroccan and Monroe. Quote, "Number 1, Mariah, the amazing mother, superstar, singer." He then went on to name Halle Berry and Naomi Campbell as his second and third choices. A producer then suggested J.Lo as an option and he just responded with, "I don't know her." After the audience erupted into laughter, the host added, "That was a joke for the lambs. Shout out to the lambs," as Carrey refers to her fans as the Lamely. Cannon made it clear who he supports in the ongoing battle of the divas, and naturally he sided with Carrey, so we can't really fault him for that. It's been a bit of a running joke for years that Mariah wasn't kidding and didn't actually know J.Lo personally when she gave that interview, but it was too late to clear the air as the classic "I don't know her" line has gone down in history as one of the best ways to shade someone. Number 6. Rosie Perez. Both Jennifer Lopez and Rosie Perez have served as inspirations to the Latin community for over 2 decades, but they haven't always gotten along. They met back in 1991 during an open casting call for In Living Color. At the time, Perez was the show's choreographer, and Lopez was auditioning to become a member of the dance troupe known as the Fly Girls. Her audition was unsuccessful, but Perez saw a star quality in J.Lo and actually pulled some strings to get her in. But after she was in the group, it became clear that Lopez didn't get along with her fellow dancers. According to Perez, she was labeled as a diva right away. "All of the girls were coming into my office and complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage." Perez said that at first she didn't believe it, but then J.Lo screamed at her saying, "I know I'm good, I'm better than any of these girls and you know it." What's worse is, after J.Lo left the show and made it big in the music industry, she went on talk shows trashing her former choreographer. Perez also implied that J.Lo ghosted her. Quote, "I called her up, she wouldn't pick up. Frustrated, I left her an irate message on her answering machine. Instead of calling me back and hashing it out like friends do, she went on a major talk show and reiterated my lashing." Number 5. Brandy. Brandy has had a public feud with Jennifer Lopez since 2017, and according to Kiwi Report, she made it clear that she supports Mariah Carey going against J.Lo too. Basically, she posted a photo of herself on Instagram hugging Carey with the hashtag #SheKnowsMe. The caption was super perfect and a great reference to that famous "I don't know her" comment. So the whole thing tells us that Brandy is totally teaming with Mariah. Brandy's post exploded on social media and Lopez fans immediately took offense to it. Mariah saw the backlash and chimed in to Brandy's photo, commenting with a simple "I sure do." But the singer was quick to defend herself from hate comments and edited the caption shortly after posting it with, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I don't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny, can't take this one down. I love this picture and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable. You know that I am." She totally doubled down on dissing Jennifer and siding with Mariah, adding, quote, "Also, I've met her several times. Like the several seats that should be taken, she does know me." Number 4. Nicki Minaj. These two have allegedly been feuding since 2012. It all started when Nicki was performing on one particular episode of American Idol at the same time that J.Lo was sitting on the judge panel. In a rather awkward moment, Nicki asked if she could come back on the show as a guest judge and asked J.Lo to scoot over. As a Latina artist hit back, she said, "I don't know if there's room for both of us." It was one of those joking moments that seemed like there was something else behind it, but nevertheless the two seemed to be just joking around, even though Nicki told a reporter backstage, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." Okay, so now we're jumping to 2015, when fans swear that Nicki shaded J.Lo for performing her song at the American Music Awards. As she was performing a small part of Anaconda, the camera cut to Nicki in the audience looking less than happy with the rendition. The clip showed her emotionless face and made it seem like she didn't approve of the way her song was being used. Number 3. Ryan Seacrest. This incident gives Ryan every reason to hate J.Lo because it's pretty bad. Ryan Seacrest worked alongside the singer on American Idol and the two quickly became friends. But all that seemingly changed when the talk show host revealed that he flew down to Miami to celebrate her milestone 50th birthday, only to be denied entry at the door. Ouch. He recalled the whole story on Live with Kelly and Ryan and explained that he flew down from New York for only a few hours because he had to make it back in time for the next morning's show. But when he finally arrived, the doorman told him, "You're not on the list," to which he responded, "Clearly, there's a mistake. She invited me personally." But upon being denied, he checked the list and couldn't find his name. The doorman just asked him to wait, made a quick call, and was able to confirm that Seacrest was indeed on the guest list. But the host went on to say that he was the first person there and no one really got turned up until after he left. It would have certainly been a little embarrassing to say the least. Number 2. Cameron Diaz. Throughout the years, Jennifer Lopez has been known to speak negatively about her fellow actors, and it looks like it may have come back to bite her. During an interview in the late 90s, J.Lo explained that Cameron Diaz was just a lucky model who was given opportunities. She did mention that Diaz can be good when directed, but Lopez's past comments about Cameron's career allegedly made things super awkward between them when they both had to buckle down and work together in the 2012 comedy What to Expect When You're Expecting. Several anonymous sources on the set of the film claimed that the two stars did not get along at all during the shoot. In fact, it was reported that Cameron said the singer was a nightmare to work with. Quote, "She even said that Jen should stick to her day job, meaning American Idol and singing." According to The Insider, J.Lo demanded to eat at specific times, no matter what, and stops working when it suits her, and she had her assistant run over to her with food. This is what allegedly drove Cameron crazy. Another source claimed that the co-stars actively avoided one another while filming, and tensions were thick. Number 1. Ojani Noah. The former couple were married on February 22nd, 1997, and got divorced barely 1 year later, in January of 1998. It was so long ago that you would think Ojani has moved on from the relationship, but apparently he's still holding on to a bit of resentment. In fact, Jennifer's former flame was out to make a buck off their brief marriage by trying to expose revealing videos from their honeymoon. Ojani was even hauled into court after he started planning a tell-all movie based on the revealing home footage called How I Married Jennifer Lopez, the J.Lo and Ojani Noah story. The result? Well, she sued him for a whopping $10 million and demanded a permanent court order blocking her ex from making any videos public. Ojani also threatened to write a tell-all book unless he was paid $5 million by the singer. His unpublished book alleges that J.Lo had multiple affairs, including one with Mark Anthony, during the 11 months that they were married. But a judge was not having it and awarded her $545,000 in damages and quashed the book, ruling that it violated a 2004 deal not to publish details of their relationship. Her team calls the movie an outrageous attempt to make money and received substantial compensation. So it's clear that he's still a little bit bitter.